Alright friends, you are welcome to this web development tutorial or training titled nitty-gritty of web development. So basically what we'll be doing in this training is to design a website from scratch using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap and others, as you can see here. When you develop a website, these are the major markup languages that you use to develop a website. So just brief introduction before we get to the training proper. First of all, I've already told those of you that followed the theory aspect of this training. I've already told you that HTML means hypertext markup language, CSS means cascading style sheet, and then that is just the meaning of these two. This one is JavaScript, Bootstrap, and of course there will be other things we'll be adding in order to make a complete website. So this is what the training is all about. So it's a video training, so as you watch me, you do what I do, and just try to understand the concept. This is a very simple something, not altogether simple, but if you understand the concept, it will be very easy for you. So what are we going to be using for this training for our development? Majorly we'll be using text editors that we can use to write our codes. There are many text editors you can use to write your code. One of them is Sublime Text here. Another is Visual Studio Code. Just watch my cursor so that you can see it. You can download this Sublime Text and Visual Studio Code from Google and then install it on your laptop. But if you do not have a laptop, you just have your phone, you can go to Google Play Store and download any web development app. There are many web development apps that you can use to really write some codes and they see the output of what you are writing. So but if you cannot download those apps, there are also, I would recommend you to jsbean.com. jsb.com is an online platform. This jsb.com is an online platform. So what you need to do is to go to jsbean.com, jsbean.com. that this what you see here, JSBean, just write them together and put .com. Then it will bring you to this screen where you see where to write your HTML files, where to write your CSS files, and then you will be seeing the output of what you are doing on this side. So if you don't have a laptop, you can use your phone and visit jsbean.com and then do these things in that place, or better still, download the web development app. There are many of them. Just find the one that is best for you, download it, and use it to do what we are doing. But for this training, I will be using Visual Studio. Visual Studio is the best and highest open source text editor that you can find. There is developed by Google. So just download Visual Studio and install it on your laptop and use this for whatever we'll be doing here. So quickly, let's get into the training. Okay, I will simply go to my Visual Studio, open my Visual Studio Code. I will open my Visual Studio Code and we start. So let's wait for it to open. We close all this and start everything afresh, because these are some of the works I've been doing before. So I'll have to close them. And we'll start afresh. So you can see I have a blank space. Of course, if you just downloaded Visual Studio Code, when you open it, you see a welcome screen. You see a welcome screen that will be telling you how to use Visual Studio Code. You can read it up and see what it's talking about. But here, this Visual Studio Code, what we do majorly, let me just introduce some things for you. These are places you download the extensions from. I already installed some extensions on my Visual Studio Code. Many of them help me to do a lot of things, but it's not recommended that as you are starting you begin to use extensions. But at the course of this training, I begin to show you some extensions. These extensions will make what I'm doing slightly different, and but it's all together the same. There's no difference. Just follow what I do and you get the same result. So this is where you just see your saved files and the rest of them. So how do we start? How do we start using Visual Studio Code? Now, how do you start a project? How do you start a project? So I want you to view a folder. So if you want to start a project, you have to have a folder where everything you are doing goes to. So, but basically today I'll just be showing you some few things. We develop our first web page, and it's going to be a very simple one and funny as well. So, but we are just going to develop our first web page and then give some styling. I've already told you that with HTML you write content, but with CSS you style your content. So we just be doing some basic HTML tags and then trying to style some of them. Okay, so that's just it. You try to style them. So how do we start? You go to file. So when you go to file, you go to open folder. Just go to open folder. So I click on open folder. So this folder will contain everything I'm doing. So you can see that I already have some projects I've been working on before: project 0, project 1, project 2. So all you need to, as you click on open folder, just create new folder. Just click on new folder. And when I click on new folder, let me type it. Let me just give it let me just say training. Sorry, let me just say training. So this is the folder that will contain everything we are doing. This is the folder that will contain everything we are doing, our files, everything. So as we are creating new files, it will be entering into this new folder. Let me take, for example, let me just open this project 1. You will see that there are already files inside it. Or project 2, you can see some files inside it. These are files I've worked on before, but for this training we'll be using this folder. So you create it from Visual Studio. When you have created the folder, you simply click on select. Okay, you simply click on select. So this is the folder we'll be using for this training. For everything we are doing, we'll be using this folder for everything we are doing. Okay, you can see I now have a welcome screen, and you can see this folder here, training. You can see there's nothing yet inside it. There's nothing yet inside the training folder, but this is the folder that contains all our web pages, all our images, everything we'll be using on that website will be stored in this folder. So I'll quickly close this screen, this welcome something. Then to make the thing larger, I will simply go to view and go to appearance. When I go to appearance, I will click on zoom out so that this thing will become bolder. Yeah, the screen will become bolder for you to see the codes I'm writing more appropriately. It seems the thing made it even more okay. Let me try know if I can make it bigger. I can make it bigger. Yes, let's use this. Okay, so when you have done this, now I'll click on I'll hover on this folder. You will see file. So I will create new file. So the files we'll be creating is HTML file, and then as time goes on we will also do CSS file. But when we get to CSS proper, I will show you that we have types of CSS. We have the internal CSS, the external CSS, and the inline CSS. But for this training, for this start, we'll be using our internal CSS, which will be contained also in our HTML file. So I simply click on new. When I click on new file, I will name my file. For websites, the home page is always named as index. So I will say index. Now when you click on this index, there should be no space in your naming. When you're naming a file in Visual Studio, don't give any space. So I will simply say index dot. Now you give your file extension, which is HTML. As you can see that immediately I added HTML, something happened here. This shows you that a file extension has been added. So I will click on save. That means that is what tells the computer that you are working on a HTML file. So as we will be doing this thing, I will also be kind of showing you what I'm doing. So we'll write our first web page today. Okay, let's say we want to write a title. First of all, I introduce the first tag to you, which is the heading tags. The heading tags are what we use to give our headings and the rest of them. So there are many things before, but I just want to show the basic ones. First of all, I will show you the structure of a website. First of all, in a website, you have the head. You have the head. Sorry. You have the head. You have the head. As you can see, in Visual Studio Code, immediately I type head, it automatically added the closing tag, because everything you do in HTML has an opening and closing tag. So this is my head. So the next thing you will have is your body, the body of your website. This is the head. Anything you put in this head does not show on your website. Okay, it does not show on your website. I'm going to be showing you some few things you put in this head that is important for SEO, well, and ranking and displaying your web pages in Google. So the next thing we have our body. We have our body. You can see I click on space. So the body contains everything. So everything we're going to be writing that will be contained in your website will be contained in the body. Okay, so let me just put some space, because this is where everything enters. This is your head and this is your body. Within this body contains many things. So now within this body we can have header. When I mean by header, when I say header, you can see header. Header is where you have something like your nav bar, your navigation bar, your logo, your navigation bar, your button, your header button. That is where you put everything. Then within this body also we can have our footer. Footer, if you visit the website, you will always see that there is a footer below where they put some other important links and the rest of them. So our header. So within our header we will be putting many things. Oh, I forgot something. Please, if you are writing a code on HTML, please, the whole code should be inside HTML. So if I click on HTML, you can see that it gives the closing tag, but this closing tag should cover everything because it is the main thing. So I will cut it and put it at the last. So it should be the first thing. You can see now this is the HTML tag. This is the HTML tag, and it is closed by this one. This is your header, your head tag within the HTML, and is closed by this one. This is the head tag. This is the head tag, and this is what is closing it. Okay, now this is the body, and this is the closing of the body. Now this is the header, and this is the closing of the header. Okay, let me do this. Let me just shift this. Okay, so if you observe, you will notice that I put this thing by the left. I shifted this thing by the left. This is to show you that this header and footer and everything here are contained in the body. So this is how we indent our codes to make sure that everything, we know what is contained in what. Because if I make this to come here, if I make this header to be in the same line with this body, you will see that it will be as if they are the same. But this is to show you that this header and footer and any other thing we'll be writing within this space are all inside the body, and then all these ones are all in the same line. So let's write our first thing. First of all, I introduce to you the header tag, that we use to give title. So I will put space. I will say we have H1. H1 is the biggest. H1 is the biggest of all. Sorry. H1 is the biggest of all. So when I say H1, and let me just put this, and then you see it have automatically given the closing tag. So let me say hello world. So I'll say hello world. This is a title. So how do we, now that I have put hello world in this place, how am I going to view what I am saying, what I am writing? So let's go to, now first of all I want to tell you that if I go to my folder, you will see that this file has entered that folder. Let me just go to my folder. Let me just go to my folder, web dev, okay, training. You can see that this file that we created, which is index.html, is now in that folder. So from here I can open what I'm actually doing in my Visual Studio. So I will simply open this file. It will open in a browser. It will open in a browser. You can see, wow. So these are first website, these are first web page. You can see that what we are doing in this HTML, this hello world, is now displaying in here. Can you see? So if you follow me to this point, congratulations, you have created your first web page. You have created your first web page. So this is just it. We also have H2. We also have H2. We also have H2. You can see. Now I can say this is my first web page. So if we go to our browser and refresh it, because it will show automatically, but later I will show you how to make it show automatically. If I refresh, you will see, wow, this is my first web page. I can have another thing, which is, let me say H3. I can say do you like it? Do you like it? I don't know who will like this kind of web page. Okay, if we refresh again, we will see that this way. If you observe, you see that the H1 is bigger and this one is following and this one is following. So we have up to H6, and these things are just like that. They get smaller. So depending on what you want to do, you know which header tag, which title tag to use. So let me say H4. Do you like it? I will say no. I don't like it. I don't like it. Sorry, this is a basic web page, so if you refresh again, you will see it. Okay, so this is simply how these things work. Now, the question is, now you can see that this is just showing black and white. How do we style? Assuming I want to make this hello world, or this is my first web page, this is this do you like it, and the rest of them. How do I give a color? How do I make this hello world to come to the center here? How do I make it to go to the left here? How do I make this one? How do I make it to be animated? How do I position it? How do I do many things? That is where styling comes in. We style it. So to style this thing, like I told you, we will use CSS to give styling to our HTML contents, and HTML means cascading style sheet. So where do I put my HTML? Where do I put my styling? So the styling should come in the header. So within the header, take note that it is within the header. This is the opening tag of the header. This is the opening tag of the header, and this is the closing tag of the header. So I'll put my style. So I will simply say style within the header. Like we said, that anything you put in the header will not be displaying, but it will just alter what is in the main content. So within this style, I will say H1, because this is what I want to style. I will say H1. Okay, when I say H1, then I'll put a closing and opening and a closing brace, and then I will say I want this color of my H1. I'm doing CSS now. I'm trying to color my H1. I'll say let this color of my H1 be red. Okay, so let's go and refresh and see what happens. Boom, you see it. So I have already declared h1 as a tag in this place, and I've given that tag a value which is hello world. Now in my styling, I am telling the browser to color my h1 red. So I simply said h1. This is how you declare things in CSS. So I know that this style should be within the head. Of course, if you can see this color here, this space here, giving color, it is simply showing you, sorry, I want to do something, I want to make it more indented. It's simply showing that this thing is the same, and this style is now within the head. Okay, and within this style, as you can see, is now this h1 style. So what are we doing? I simply said h1 here, and I put h1 here, and I put my opening and closing brace. Everything you do in styling must always have a opening and a closing brace, this curly bracket, opening and closing. So within that h1, I said let the color be red. So what if, sorry, and then when you put red, it must always end with a semicolon. It must always end with a semicolon. Your CSS lines of statement must always end with a semicolon. So what if I want to say that I want this h1 to be at the center? I don't want it to be at that right. I will say test. You can see that as I put test, Visual Studio Code is already suggesting what I want to write, because there is they call it IntelliSense that suggests to you what you want to write. So, but if I don't want, I can continue to say test align, then I'll put my colon, and I'll say test align, I will say center, and then I'll close with a semicolon. Okay, now let's go and refresh our page. If you refresh our page, you see that this hello world has come to the center of your screen. So that's just it. If I also want to style my h2, all of them will be within this style as well. So I will give another space and say h2. When I say h2, I will put my opening and the closing. If you're using window, in my laptop, to get this double brace, I just click shift and add. So depending on how you do it, get it on your own laptop and on your own PC, but this is how I get it. So just find how you to get this curly bracket. Now I will say within this my h2, I want the color to be blue. You can see that in CSS, as I write blue, is giving me a box that is showing me the color. So if we go and refresh, you will see that this color has changed to blue. So the next thing I want to do is to make this h2 to go to the right instead of it's on the left now. So I will simply, just like the way we did for h1, we'll say let this test be aligned to the right. Let it be aligned to the right. If you go to our browser and click on refresh, you can see that it has now gone to the right, sorry. So this is just it. I can do it with my h3 and h4 as well. So this is how we style. Now again, I can decide to change my font color, my font style. Let's go to h1, and I want to say font style or font size. Okay, I didn't show you that. I can make my font to be bigger or larger and the rest of them, but let's just take font style, and I will say I want this my font style to be, let's say, bold. If we refresh, okay, that, because I already gave it a color, so let me use something else. Let me say font family. Let me just say font family to show you, and I will say font family is trying to say the font that will be displayed. So these are the font families. So this is telling your browser, if somebody is visiting this website and this font Korean new is not here, display Korea. If it's not there, display monospace. But normally I would like to use this Arial, Hell, Vertical, and sans serif. So I will say this. So if you go here, you will see that if you refresh, this font will change. Okay, you have seen it, the font changed. So this is basic stylings, and this is the rest of them. And what again? Let me just try to say something again to this. Let me say font size. Let me say font weight. Okay, let me say font weight, and I will say strong or bold. I'll say bold. So if you go to bold and refresh, you see it will not do anything because it has a color. It has a color already, so that it won't do anything. So that's just it. So there are many things you can do on this header, and if you go to Visual Studio Code, if you want to get suggestions from Visual Studio Code, just click Control and space, and then it will show you suggestions, things you can do with that tag. So I want to do background color. So this background color, I can decide. So what I'm trying to do basically is to give a background to this hello world. So I will say background color, let it be black. Let it be black. And if you go here and refresh, you will see that it has given it a background color. Okay, so you can do many things on this Visual Studio Code. You can do many things with your H1, different stylings. H2, you can also say background, whether background or background color, they are the same. Background, I can also say green. I want to give my H2. And what is my H2? My H2 is, this is my first web page. So if you go here and refresh, you will see that it has given it the background of green, and that's just it. Okay, that's just it. So we'll stop here for now on this title tags. But before we stop, let me show you some things that you add to the header. If you go to your browser and you see here, you will see what is the title. The title is index.html. That's the title, the index.html. So but there are many ways you can change this title, what shows in that your browser. So I can just say I will say title within my header, and I will call it my, okay, let me just say training. Like I told you that whatever you put within the header will not be displayed as a content. So you see, I just refresh now, and you can see that this index.html have changed to training. So you visit many websites and you will see this on the website. So this is just it. So within this, we put all these things. Okay, this is it for now. So we have succeeded in learning H1 header tags, title tags, H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. Like I said, you can have many of them. Let me just copy this and paste to make it faster, and then V. So what I want to do basically is to have H5 and H6. Okay, so I can just clean this and put 5 here, and then clean this and put 5 here, put this and put 6 here, and put 6 here. So that's just to show you the different headings we have is from H1 to H6. So if we refresh our browser, you will see it that they're getting small. This is H1, hello world is H1, that which we have style. This is H2. We did not give stylings to this one, so that's why they are displaying like that. But we can also change their position. They can also change their position. And this is basic CSS, and this type of CSS styling is called internal CSS. So I am writing my CSS files in the same page where I'm writing my HTML files. So but there is a way we can have an external CSS, because if we continue styling everything on this page, what's going to happen is that it will make our code very, very long, and that means we have to be scrolling as we are doing something down here. As the code gets long, we will have to scroll up to go and style it up. But as we continue, I'm going to show you how to have a separate CSS file and then simply link it up to your HTML file, and then it will still be giving you the same result. So that is just that for now. So the next one, we're going to talk about how to create a box and how to create a link, buttons, how to make image links, how to size your image, how to put a logo, design a navigation bar, put a button in your navigation bar, tables, how to design forms, how to give animations, how to do a lot of things and create a full website. This is what will be going on in this training. So I will cut it here for now for this. Okay, so